Hey guys, Brent Hull Build Show back in Dallas. We're in Highland Park. We're looking at another Dilbeck house. Come check it out. It's a new project. We're just starting. Okay guys, you may remember Dilbeck. He's Charles Dilbeck. Started in Tulsa, moved to Dallas, did a bunch of stuff in Fort Worth, did some stuff in Dallas. This is the Dilbeck, okay? So we've done 3 or 4 Dilbeck houses over our career. This is the 4th or 5th one. What I love about him is the amazing character he is able to infuse into his architecture. So what Dilbeck's really most famous for is kind of his French Normandy cottages, okay? So he's kind of a cottage guy. Later in his career, he moves into some different things, and this to me is a little bit transitional for him. Very creative. If you remember the last Dilbeck we looked at, there was like 3 pages, but it was just crammed full of detail. A few more pages in this house, there's a few more details, but still we're looking at and checking out these awesome eclectic ways of doing things and of building things. So let's go look at those. Now this is a neat house because it was originally built in like 34, there was an addition in 38, and there's another one in the 50s, all done by the architect Dilbeck. So he was called back a few times by different customers to redo this house. So awesome details. There's a Ludowici roof here. There's great Pecky cypress, which we've talked about. Great, unique, funky little features that are really cool to look at. The windows, you'll notice they're French in styling. Apparently there was one book that I actually got a copy of, which shows a bunch of French detailing. That's why these windows have those 3 lines going across. They're kind of a French version of these windows, but this is a really eclectic, kind of mission-y, hacienda kind of cool house. Let's go check it out. All right, look at all the junk and stuff that he's piled into this entry, okay? The rounded columns, that's kind of a Dilbeck feature that he does, these rounded columns, rounded piers. This little courtyard on the outside, this unique gate, I'm gonna show you the drive gate, which is really awesome. Look at the brick over those windows, okay? Those are windows that we'll see in a little bit, but he's bricked over them as if it's kind of an old breeze through, as if this is an old hacienda, that those windows aren't there, and that was just a way to bring air into the house. Look at this awesome arch and this door, okay? That door is almost hidden, it's almost invisible, very simply the way it's put in there. And these arches that they've got here, these little niches for whatever those were, whether this is a lantern here or whatever that was, but just tons of character. Hand-hewn beams, okay? So most of his woodwork is hand-hewn, but we've got these big timbers, this European feel to this thing, so a lot of great features. And let me show you the doorbell. It's really charming. You see this? I'm going to show you what this is, but this is, you can hear it a little bit. There's a wonderful little door chime that he's got here that really works from pulling a string. Look at this weird stair, so charming, but where does this detail come from? How does he come up with this kind of thing? Very interesting. We've got timbers in the ceiling, but one of the things we know that happens was that when it was done in 38, I believe it was 38, this was a living room that got turned into a kitchen, okay? And so this awesome fireplace, which is kind of typical of Dilbeck, that you would have this huge inset fireplace with these cook arms that go across this great timber, Pecky cypress, kind of a typical detail that Dilbeck did. The herringbone pattern of the brick on there. I mean, there's just tons of detail in here, tons of great things. Just the way he's cut this angle, right? That the way the timber would have been held in here. This is not structural, but it looks structural because the way he's notched it in here to make it look really kind of unique and wonderful. Now, we're gonna keep this the kitchen. We're kind of blowing it out and kind of changing it around. The original part of the house here, notice the round columns, I talked about those earlier. This is a fireplace that they would like to keep, but it's new, right? Now, how do you know, right? Well, this kind of buff colored cast stone is kind of a clear detail that doesn't have the same character, right, that the rest of the house does. It's a little bit McMansiony. The brickwork's fine, needs to be painted. We don't need to highlight that, but this round shape along with these round columns actually works really well. So, but we're going to fix this. We're going to Dilbeck it up and try to help it out. There was a porch that you stepped onto here, kind of a neat little cozy living room here that opens onto the backyard. So the dining room, right? Notice these step ups. We're gonna step up and step down a lot in here, kind of part of that cottage feel. Look at this ceiling, right? Look at this kind of rope mold or heavy beaded deal. We've got a Pecky cypress ceiling, random width, tongue and groove boards, all done at a different angle. So there's that 90 degrees difference between this, kind of takes on a real, funky pattern on the ceiling. They want to maybe go back and stain this and then try to take the paint off. But look at the doors that are going into the dining room, those little bars and the way that looks. That is a typical kind of Dilbeck feature. Plank doors like this, very small moldings around the outside, all part of that kind of character and charm. It's just filled with those kind of details. So we're going into the 38 edition, which is kind of a bar. It's kind of a weird kind of bar, but look at the doors. We've got Dutch doors going into this living room, kind of a cool Dilbeck kind of feel to this thing that's a little bit odd, right? It's a little bit, casting that idea of this was something else. This may have been the outside that got converted in. We've got wide random width, wide plank floors that are pegged right at the corners. Got these funky cabinet details with a weird glaze on it. This bar detail here with that kind of feature on the back, another huge fireplace, right? Another big sunken fireplace. Look at the leaded glass here, this wide textured leaded glass that's really kind of just filled with character and age, right? So look guys, we've gone through 3 rooms and it's just like the adjectives and the number of things that I'm talking about that we're doing to this house. It's just amazing. All the detail that's crammed into the space that gives it all of that character. Most of the work we're going to be doing is going to be upstairs. Let's go upstairs, look at that. And I want to go out into the back with these amazing timbers. And I got to show you this drive gate. Tons of unique details. Look at these wide plank tongue and groove boards, right? These huge, 14 inches wide. This is actually going to be the doorway into here. This is the original doorway. We hope to actually see the jamb and stuff behind there. Look at the rope molding. Rope molding is actually something he used, that's real rope. It's not a wood molding meant to look like a rope, it's actually rope. And so he would do that sometimes on stairs. He's done that at other Dilbecks, but there's an original Dilbeck feature that's really cool. Look at this fireplace kind of tucked in here, and look how much different the character of this one is compared to the one downstairs, right? We've got better cut stone or cast stone around the outside, better architectural details. This looks charming. This, to my eye, is an original Dilbeck fireplace, whereas the one downstairs really looked like something that somebody added. So getting those character details right really is a big deal. Let's go out into the porch. I want to show you this fireplace, this great sitting area, and then we'll go downstairs. So coming out here, great details. Look at the lattice work here on this loggia here. Another fireplace. And look what's happening with the chimney, right? We've got a chimney coming up from below that's kind of tucked halfway in between this larger chimney. That's the one that's coming from that big one in the bar area where you're just in. Fun little details the way they got this working. Look at the support on the little roof that goes out over there, how they've got these almost logs that go up and support the timbers that come out over that window. Going downstairs, this great kind of timbered stair that comes down. Speaking of fireplaces, look at the one over there and the way it's coming up, almost looks like a missile coming up out of there, but it's got that round column. We've got that great Dilbeckian detailing there. When we go back over here, the landscaper is actually putting in a great driveway right now that's really going to block some of the water that was going on. But here's the original garage, okay? And there's this winding little drive-through here, porte-cochere. Look the way he did this gate, okay? The gate has a little walk gate, okay, that you would open and close, and then a larger section, as if this was, used for both. But the fact that we have this kind of great detailing with this timber and everything else going on here that has a walk gate portion but also a whole drive gate portion is just kind of this extra layering of detail that's just awesome. That's really cool, really gives this house character. All right guys, so a 90-ish year old Dilbeck house in Highland Park, in the Park Cities. Beautiful example of Dilbeck and his work and the variety of work, right? We looked at those French Norman houses, the other ones we did before with the turrets. This one has more of a Spanish eclectic feel. Great detailing, great elements. Can't wait to dig into this house. Follow along, it's the Dilbeck house in Highland Park. I'm Brent Hull, thanks for watching.